What's up, guys? We are back with another creepy video. I'm just with it. Like, I'm on a real schedule now. I'm with the creepy shits. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about a place that I am extremely familiar with. We are going to be talking about the most haunted city in America, which is Savannah, Georgia. Yes, I've been there. River Street is my favorite place. I love Savannah, but yes, it is the most haunted city in America. If you Google most haunted city in America, Savannah, Georgia comes up. So we're going to be talking about some of the most haunted places in the most haunted city in America. But first, you know what I want you to do, and if you don't, you must be new. So what I want you to do is hit that subscribe button and join the Mermaid Gang. Okay? We're not so mermaid anymore because we chopped our hair off, but you know what? We're still the Mermaid Gang because here we suspend our disbelief. There are no limitations here. So if you've done what I asked you to do, also turn on my notification bell, please, so you know whenever I upload, so that way you don't even miss a second. Alright, now that we've done that, let's get into the video. Let's see what our number one is on our list for the most haunted places in the most haunted city. I'm going to be reading off of my phone because I can't memorize every single detail. I have a really bad attention span. So I'm going to be reading off my phone so that I don't miss like the good stuff, because I'll forget and I'll leave something out and then I'll be editing and then I'll remember and then I'll be mad. So I'm just going to avoid that altogether. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm referring to my phone. Okay, so the very first place we are going to discuss is the Hamilton Turner Inn. The Hamilton Turner Inn was made famous by Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Paranormal activities inside the inn include the sounds of children laughing, balls rolling around the upper floors, and sightings of a strange cigar-smoking man sitting on the roof. In the inn's long history, there have been countless reports of paranormal activity. Visitors have made claims of hearing sounds of children laughing and even balls popping off of the ghostly table before rolling across the floor. Some have even seen the ghost of a man smoking a cigar on the rooftop. Other accounts of seeing a Civil War soldier walking through the halls at night, occasionally waking guests by knocking on their room's door. The only explanation for why a Confederate soldier haunts a home built after the end of the Civil War is that the house was built on the top of his gravesite. One source claims it was rumored that Dr. Turner performed autopsies in the basement where he met his patients, but the Turners were also known for hosting lavish parties. Their children were banished upstairs during the parties, where they would play with the balls on the billiard table. Not content with this arrangement, one night the children accidentally rolled billiard balls down the stairs so they could retrieve them and catch a glimpse of what the adults were up to. But one of the little girls got too close to the top step and fell down the stairs to her death. Her ghost is rumored to still roll billiard balls throughout the inn once the sky has darkened and the night has descended over the city of Savannah. There are also rumors that the mansion in Haunted Mansion was inspired by this inn. And I'm just going to read one of the guest stories for this one because I want to move on to the other ones as well. At about 2 in the morning, I was awoken by the sound of footsteps walking past my bed. They were very clear and unmistakable. It sounded like someone was walking right towards me, laying in bed. It can be very unnerving to experience this. The room was very dark and I couldn't tell if it was an actual person or something else. I laid in bed for a few seconds and the footsteps stopped. I asked, "Is there anyone there?" The paranormal investigator in me started to kick in as I realized nobody was in the room with me. I didn't get a response and nothing else happened for the rest of the evening. Oh, this is one of the places. There's a couple of places in Savannah that I want to go stay. This is one of them. Number 2, the Marshall House. USA Today named the Marshall House one of the best haunted hotels in the U.S. since 1851. This hotel has been used as a hospital 3 times, once for Union soldiers and twice for yellow fever epidemics. I already knew that because I know quite a bit about this hotel because like I said, I want to stay there, so I've been researching it. Guests have reported their fair share of paranormal experiences, such as seeing ghosts in the hallways, hearing non-existent children running down the halls, and faucets turning on by themselves. The Marshall House Hotel on Broughton Street is one of the oldest hotels in Savannah, Georgia, and with that distinction comes a colorful past filled with enchanting charm. The Marshall House has retained some of the original architectural features, such as the beautiful brick walls and glamorous staircase. One thing that makes the Marshall House so unique is that, unlike any other historic hotels in Savannah, the Marshall House was not originally a house, but was built with the specific purpose of being a hotel. Mary Marshall built the hotel in 1851 on land that she had inherited from her father, Gabriel Lever, who was a French cabinet maker. The Marshall House is widely considered by the architectural historians to be the finest structure Mary Marshall ever built. When the hotel was restored in the late 1990s, workers were replacing the damaged floorboards downstairs when they found human remains. The area became a crime scene, but soon it was learned that the downstairs had once been the hospital's surgery room, leading historians to believe that the bones which were discovered came from the amputated limbs of Civil War soldiers. The Marshall House is well aware of their reputation for paranormal activity. Eerie, ghostly occurrences include faucets that turn on and off, lights that inexplicably flicker, electronic items powering themselves, toilets suddenly overflowing for no reason, and disembodied voices that echo throughout the halls. On the 4th floor in the hallway, loud noises are known to take place during the early morning hours, like the thundering of a heavy object crashing to the ground. Also, doorknobs to the rooms tend to wiggle as if someone is attempting to enter the room. I'm not sure of the exact intentions of this impolite ghost, but it's a safe bet that it's not the kind of room service you would want. Hell no. One guest recalled a room to be wary of, 306. The loud hall noises in the middle of the night happen on the 4th floor where we just happen to be staying. I've lived in many haunted houses, but the Marshall House creeped me out completely. I loved it there, but I could not rest. Yes, it is old and noisy, but there's way more going on than meets the eye. I know others have experienced things too. There is also a ghostly cat, but I never seen it myself. There happened to be another hotel guest who said she did, but what else can you really expect from a city built on top of dead bodies? I mean, what do you expect? Yes, the Marshall House is known to be a noisy place due to its wood floors and high ceilings, but there are countless tales of the apparitions of small children and the sounds of crying babies that have been regularly reported by guests at the famous hotel. The spirits of these children are known to linger around the Marshall House, as the laughter and playful voices of the children can be heard within the building at any given moment. Sometimes these ghostly children can be seen skipping, running, and playing games through the hallway, their apparitions as a physical form. During the night, sounds of marbles and rubber balls can be heard rolling and bouncing in the hallways. Not exactly modern kid games, but if you were to take a peek out in the hall, most likely you would not see anything. No kids, no balls, no marbles, leaving you to wonder if you imagine the entire thing completely. Number 3 is the 1790 Inn. This one is old and it looks old. Like, it looks old. There's no elevator. I want to stay there though. The ghost of a woman scorned, a slave cook, and a servant boy are said to hang around the 1790 Inn and Restaurant, haunting guests and diners alike. While dining at the restaurant, you may hear the cook banging on pots in the kitchen or see a glimpse of a little servant boy. If you stay at the inn, you might spot Anna, one of the most famous ghost girls in the city, who haunt the upstairs guest rooms waiting for the return of her lost love. One of the most visited haunted places in Savannah, Georgia is the 1790 Inn on President Street in the historic district. Almost every haunted pub crawl in Savannah stops at the bar of the 1790. The building, which now houses the 1790, is actually 3 buildings in total. The first 2 parts of this haunted building were constructed in the years between 1821 and 1823. A third part, the eastern part of the building, was built in 1888. It doesn't matter which part of the 1790 you find yourself in, the possibility of having a ghostly run-in is high. The most well-known ghost at the 1790 inn is the ghost of Anne. Anne has been seen on the top floor of the inn, in room 204 specifically. Anne, as she is fondly called by the staff, seems to enjoy messing with people and their belongings. Guests who stay in room 204 regularly report having their belongings messed with, rearranged, or even come up missing. People have also said that they feel the presence of Anne while staying in the room. Sheets have been tugged by an unseen force. The sobs of a woman crying have emanated from the dark corners of room 204 after the lights go out. It is no wonder that the people who come to Savannah hoping for an encounter with a ghost has to stay in room 204. Those hoping to have an encounter with the ghost they call Anne are not often let down. So who is Anne? Well, basically the story goes that she was the main story. The story is that the building at the east part of the property is where she was staying, and apparently she fell in love with this sailor, I'm assuming. I believe it was a sailor they're saying that she fell in love with, and he left. He had to leave. She was completely heartbroken, and some people say she threw herself over the balcony, but what people really believe is that her husband, who brought her to this hotel and paid for her to come to this hotel, threw her over the balcony because of her sobbing over another man, basically. But they have not been able to find anything to confirm that story. They've researched Anne's and tried to line up the timeline and the story, but one Anne that they found lived to be old, and another, the hotel wasn't even built yet when it was supposedly that she passed away. I don't know, the stories just don't line up, so they're not really positive, and I'm not really sure how it became this Anne person or why they assumed this woman's name was Anne. But they can't find anything to back the story other than hearsay. All anybody knows is that there is a sobbing woman in 204 who likes to mess with people. So a woman and her 2 daughters and their friends go stay at the inn because they did want to experience something ghostly. Lynn and her family arrived at the historic property only to find out that there was only one guest room available for the night, room 204, Anne's room. Entering room 204 from the outside entrance, Lynn and the girls immediately set to putting down their bags while her daughters lounged on the bed. Lynn caught notice of a teddy bear on the fireplace mantle. Between its legs was a purple ball with some Mardi Gras beads tangled around the bear's body. Straight away, Lynn recognized the teddy bear. It was the same one from the TV show Ghost Hunters that they had brought to the room during their paranormal investigation. While Ghost Hunters may have left a few years ago, the teddy bear has remained without the camera. Lynn twisted away from the mantle and went to use the restroom. Out in the bedroom, her daughter started to call out to Anne as they took Snapchats to send their friends. "Are you there? Do you want to play? Girls, be nice to her." And then something happened. Though the girls' cameras were not trained on the fireplace itself, their echoing cries of shock captured Lynn's notice. "Oh my God," the girls shouted just as Lynn asked, "Did you hear that?" Lynn flew into the guest room, stuttering to a stop when she realized that the ball on the mantle was no longer on the mantle. No, it had gone flying off, though no one had touched it, and landed in the center of the room. Shrugging their shoulders, they left for dinner. When they returned, they rechecked the light, but it would not come on this time. Why? It had been unplugged. Was Anne actually visiting them? Had she thrown the ball and unplugged the lamp? During the course of the night, sleep proved elusive. The girls could hear scratching at the end of the bed on the bedpost, and then there was a strange clicking noise. The windows rattled and the doorknobs shook. All the while, Lynn and the girls tried to enjoy the paranormal performance they'd wanted so badly when they booked the night at the 1790 Inn. Now we're going to talk about the kitchen ghost. She ain't nice. She ain't nice. Another ghost which has been reported at the 1790 over the years seems to enjoy taking up residence in the kitchen. The ghost is much more sinister in nature than the ghost which is sometimes seen upstairs. Apparently, the ghost which haunts the kitchen isn't very fond of women being in the kitchen. Pots have been thrown, people have been pushed or touched, and pranks have been pulled on women who are working in or around the kitchen. Staff members who have been working late at night in the area of the bar or kitchen have had unnerving things happen to them. While all alone in the 1790, they will hear the sounds of someone moving in the kitchen, pots banging together, and the sound of metal jingling. The staff believes this is the ghost of a servant who used to serve the family who lived in the house. The woman in question, whose name I cannot track down, was believed to be a practitioner of voodoo. If this is true, does her belief in the power of voodoo help fuel the hauntings which are reported in the bar and kitchen area? It certainly seems possible. Yeah, that would do it. Number 4 is the Pirate's House. Once a saloon and rest stop for the seafarers from abroad, the Pirate's House still stands today as one of Savannah's most well-known restaurants. However, the Pirate's House can't escape its dark past. Many were brutally shanghaied down in the boarding house basement and forced to serve at sea. There are many secrets to be discovered at this world-famous site. Some you're sure to learn about over dinner. Ghosts of the old sailors. Shadow people and other ghostly apparitions have been seen walking through the dining rooms of the present-day Pirate's House. When staff are working all alone in the building, they report having the sensation of someone watching them. On more than one occasion, they turned around to see a seaman from long ago standing there, looking right into their eyes and slowly drifting into nothing. Footsteps can be heard echoing through the restaurant on quiet evenings. The distinct sound of boots on the plank floors can send the chills up the spine of someone not expecting it, but then again, nobody ever really is expecting it. That's pretty creepy, but it's not quite as creepy to me as the Marshall House or the 1790. The Kehoe House. I think they do a tour of this. They do. You can take a ghost tour of this one. Actually, I think you can do a ghost tour of all of these places if you go to Savannah. The Kehoe family consisted of 10 children, and rumor has it that 2 of them died in the house. Although the rumor is completely unsubstantiated, many guests say that they encounter ghost children during their overnight stays. Also, before becoming a beautiful bed and breakfast, the Kehoe House was a funeral home. So, is the Kehoe House haunted? We dare you to stay a night and see for yourself. Built on Columbia Square in Savannah, Georgia, the Kehoe House was completed in May of 1892. It was built for William Kehoe and his family. They lived in the house for a number of years with their children. It is known that some of their children passed away inside of the house. Guests who stay at the Kehoe House have reported all sorts of haunted events happening to them while staying there. While children have passed away in the home, it is no coincidence that the ghosts of children are some of the most reported ghost occurrences in the house. One of the stories that won't die, despite being debunked pretty heavily, is the story of 2 Kehoe children getting stuck in the chimney. If you believe the rumors, they were never able to escape and they died in that chimney. Another ghostly experience that occurs at the Kehoe House is the smell of perfumes from an age past have also been noticed wafting their way through the hallway or bedrooms of this haunted Savannah bed and breakfast. Now, being able to explain away some of the hauntings at the Kehoe House doesn't explain some of the other hauntings and encounters with ghosts in the Kehoe House. At least one of the ghosts here seem to be the intelligent variety. An intelligent haunting is one where the ghost, spirit, or entity appears to recognize the living and can interact with them, and we know that this happens at the Kehoe House. This might explain why the guests also often report the feeling of someone touching them while they sleep. Numerous people who have stayed there have reported the ghostly phenomena. Okay, so the last one, number 6, Moon River Brewing Company. This beer house is considered by many to be the most haunted place in Savannah. Many guests have spotted a lady wearing white at the top of the restaurant's staircase. Ghosts have also been known to throw bottles, breeze by patrons, and play tricks on staff members. Guests of Moon River Brewing Company have nothing to worry about as long as they stay away from the basement and upstairs, which are the 2 most active paranormal spots in the joint. The building that houses the Moon River Brewing Company was built in 1821 by Eleazar Early. It was first used as a city hotel. Savannah's prominent and wealthy residents regularly gathered here. The Savannah City Hotel hosted its last guests in 1864, right before General Sherman claimed the city in his famous March to the Sea during the American Civil War. The building also served as a hospital during Savannah's numerous yellow fever outbreaks. Hundreds of people, mostly children, reportedly died on the upper floors of the building during these outbreaks, when the building functioned as a makeshift hospital. It is not surprising that child spirits are often seen in the Moon River Brewing Company. In more recent times, the building, which houses the Moon River Brewing Company, has been used as a storage space, an office supply store, and actually sat vacant for almost 20 years until it was purchased in 1995. The Moon River Brewing Company came about just a few years later, and that's when the ghost story started. Another area in the Moon River Brewing Company that gets a lot of attention is the basement. The most famous ghost is the one that the staff calls Toby. He's seen in the basement moving silently through the shadows. The basement does certainly have more than its share of ghostly encounters with the living. Many people who go on the ghost tours throughout make a stop in the basement. I was on one of the ghost tours a few months back when a young woman started to panic. She claimed that her entire right hand side of her body became icy cold very quickly. She said that she could hear voices but couldn't make out what they were saying. We took her outside, at which point the experience ended. Was this caused by a ghost? I don't know. Many people have reported having feelings very similar while in the basement of the Moon River Brewing Company. I personally have been witness to 2 events at Moon River which can only be explained by the ghost messing with people. Last summer I was on a date. We went to the Moon River for dinner. During the course of the dinner, she excused herself to the restroom. The minute ticked by as I started to wonder if she really bailed on me. Almost 10 minutes later she came back to the table, tears streaming down her face. I asked her what was wrong. Is everything okay? And she took a deep breath and composed herself, and she proceeded to tell me that she was in one of the stalls. When she tried to exit the stall, the door would not open. She assured me the door wasn't locked. She pushed on the door with all of her weight, but the door would not budge. She started to panic but didn't want to cause a scene. After trying for another minute, she desperately called out, "Let me out of this stall." She gave the door another push and it came straight open. She went outside to try and calm herself before coming back to the table. She didn't know I was interested in the paranormal and ghosts and thought I would judge her crazy. A minute later, the waitress came to our table to refill our drinks. She noticed that my date was a mess and asked if everything was okay. My date looked at the waitress and said, "You won't believe me if I told you, but something just happened to me in your restroom and I think a ghost was messing with me." She told the waitress the whole story, just to have the waitress reply, "Yeah, you're not the first person to have that happen to them. The ghosts like to hang out in the women's restroom for some reason." I don't think that made my date feel any better. No, it probably didn't. Another time I was sitting at a dining table having dinner with a friend. All of a sudden she jumps and her face turns white almost instantly. All of the blood drained from her skin. I asked her what was wrong. She told me something grabbed my leg twice. The first time I thought it was you, but this time both of your hands are where I can see them. I asked her what she meant something grabbed her leg. She said it felt like someone had gripped her thigh and squeezed, so she could feel a hand squeezing her leg. She has refused to ever go back to the Moon River Brewing Company. On the upper floors, all sorts of ghostly and shadowy events have been reported. The infamous Lady in White, people being pushed down the stairs, construction crews being chased out by unseen forces. It has all happened on the upper floor of the brewing company. I'm not going to keep repeating this freaking name. According to many sources, the 4th floor of the Moon River, they almost got me. On the 4th floor seems to harbor dark energy. It is known that during the many yellow fever outbreaks in Savannah, that part of the building, including the top floor, was used as a makeshift hospital. Of course, there were many deaths in the building from the people who lost their battle with this horrible disease. It killed without mercy. Okay, well, that is all. That's all 6 of the most haunted places in Savannah. I find it very interesting. If you don't, sorry you sat through my whole video. But I do. I think it's freaking interesting, and I think that it's cool that it's a place that I can go visit. Well, you can go visit it too. I don't know where you freaking live, but I know I can go visit it. Like, it's a quick drive for me. But I think I will, for my channel, go Bobby and me. I'm not going by myself. Bobby and I will go to Savannah and vlog and take some video and things like that at some point. I'm not sure where I want to stay yet, but we'll figure all that out. I'm not gonna just, you know, tell you everything. You gotta wait and see the video. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Tell me what you think about the ghost stories. Tell me what you think about Savannah. Do you know anything about Savannah? Have you heard of it being the most haunted city in America? Because it is. Leave me a little ghosty emoji below if you've made it this far in my freaking video. And make sure to please leave me a like so you can get me in the recommended. Leave me a comment. Again, a little ghosty. That's all you gotta do. And subscribe. Join the freaking Mermaid Gang. We're doing big things over here. No, but we're really gonna be doing fun stuff. So just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Anyway, this is the channel where we suspend our disbelief and have fun. And we out.